Go Productions, during the filming of Bolsonaro's movie, they rented a hospital, right? Part of a hospital in Brasilia, I think it was in Brasilia, to shoot the movie. And they didn't pay. They didn't pay the hospital. The hospital had to go to court to seize assets, almost 100,000 reais. They didn't pay. Where's the movie money? Didn't the money go to the movie? The more than 60 million, almost 78 million that Vorcaro gave, where's the money from the movie? They're scamming here, but there's another important piece of information. SBT said that it had confidential access to the business people who invested in the movie. According to this business person, when Daniel Vorcaro stopped making the transfers, by then, according to official information, he had already transferred more than 60 million. He stopped making the transfers. Other business people invested in the production of the movie. Where is the accountability report? Daniel Vorcaro alone put more than 60 million into this movie. So where are these other business people? Shall we take a look at this information, everyone? Look here. Business people paid Dark Horse after Vorcaro left. SBT News. The group they paid Dark Horse after Vorcaro left. SBT News. Business people close to the Bolsonaro family were approached to urgently fund the final stages of the former president's biopic titled AA. Regarding the anonymity of these investors, she told SBT News that after Daniel Vorcaro stopped the payments at the end of last year, the production began to face difficulties paying basic expenses, which would make it impossible to release the film. And the more than 60 million that was confirmed Daniel Vorcaro paid, and that from all indications did not go to the film. Because if it had gone to the film, this wouldn't be happening here, with several cases of non-payment during the film's production here in Brazil. Where is the money that was supposed to go to the film, guys? If it had gone, there wouldn't be all these cases of non-payment. So many cases of non-payment are coming up. And another thing, where's the list of those other businessmen and how much did they put into Bolsonaro's damn Pangaré movie? Where's the financial report for this movie? It's stolen money. Daniel Vorcaro's money isn't private money, it's stolen money. Where's the money? Where is it? That's what we want to know. And nobody explains that. We know that the money went to a fund over there in the United States. We know that. Where did the money go after that? Into the hands of Eduardo Bolsonaro? Is that why he left a job with a salary of almost 50,000 reais and went to the United States and is living there like a king in the United States? Is it true that just the house he lives in costs 6 million reais? And nobody explains anything. And this needs to be explained. Meanwhile, that doesn't excuse it, huh? A first-hour ally of Bolsonaro. The STJ is investigating the former Bolsonaro-supporting governor of Mato Grosso, known as the Master's Payroll Loan Guy. The Superior Court of Justice has opened an investigation against the former governor of Mato Grosso, Mauro Mendes, from União Brasil, a Bolsonaro supporter who left office 3 months ago to run for the federal Senate. He is suspected of irregularities and favoritism toward Master in the accreditation of the payroll loan program offered by the bank, Crede Sexta, in 2020. This is the same thing, opening payroll loans for public servants in Mato Grosso, and the suspicion is of fraud and money laundering involving Banco Master and the former governor. And here he is under investigation by the STJ. As a rule, the STJ is the competent authority to judge and handle all investigations against governors. But there is, however, this issue with Master. There is already an investigation in the Supreme Federal Court, and the higher court pulls the lower one. So this investigation should end up in the Supreme Federal Court. Just like that investigation by the São Paulo Civil Police investigating if the SE. The mayor of São Paulo, the Bolsonaro supporter, Ricardo Nunes, is involved in this situation. Together with Karina Gama, who won a bidding process at the City Hall, totaling 157 million reais. And this Karina is the producer of Bolsonaro's film. If everything is involved, if there is a connection with the Banco Master fraud, this situation in the city of São Paulo should also go up to the Federal Supreme Court, just like this one here. Another Bolsonaro supporter in the devil's pocket of Daniel Vorcaro's mafia. Every day is a flash, right? And another ally of Bolsonaro shows up. This even came out on Globo News just a little while ago. Shall we take a look at a bit of this report that aired on Globo News? Pay attention here.
The news investigated by our colleague Malu Gaspar was published in the newspaper O Globo. The former governor of Mato Grosso, Mauro Mendes from União Brasil, is under investigation by the Superior Court of Justice for suspected irregularities and favoritism toward Master during his state administration. The bank was allegedly favored in the Crede Sexta payroll loan program in 2023. The investigation by the Superior Court of Justice, opened at the request of the Office of the Prosecutor General, is being conducted under secrecy in the court. The Crede Sexta system, as we recall, is also at the center of suspicions involving the former governor of Rio, Cláudio Castro from the PL, and Jacques Wagner from the PT, the government leader in the Senate.
In total, there are 24 states
that operate the Crede Sexta.
This Crede Sexta here, let me tell you something. It's even more messed up. Encaixufrado than anything. There's an issue with Jacques Wagner involving an investigation into Crede Sexta. In fact, Jacques Wagner has to step down from the Senate leadership as the government leader. He has to step down. He was even supposed to have a meeting with Lula just a little while ago. Lula has to ask him to step down. Either he steps down or Lula removes him. There's no room for him to continue as the government's leader in the federal Senate, Jacques Wagner. It's that simple. They're not making value judgments or condemning anyone, but suspicions are strong, and he has to step down. And if it's proven during the investigation, and soon there are charges and so on, those responsible have to go to jail. Just like Flavio Bolsonaro and others. So this Crede Sexta, it's everywhere. This same Crede Sexta was also used by Governor Cláudio Castro, a Bolsonaro supporter. Former governor of Rio de Janeiro, already impeached and ineligible, and soon he'll be an inmate. There's no way around it. Also involved with Daniel Vorcaro's mafia. He injected more than 5 billion reais of public money into the mafia of Daniel Vorcaro, Cláudio Castro. Bolsonaриsts from the same political group as Flavio Bolsonaro in Rio de Janeiro. The same situation is happening now in Mato Grosso. And everything will come to light, folks. Do you know why the truth always comes out? Because it's a lot of money. And money leaves a trail. There's no way. We're not talking about 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million, 900 million. We're talking about thousands. We're talking about a fraud that exceeds 50 billion reais. So it's a lot of money. That's why there are all these infiltrations in several states, municipalities, and within the spheres of power. Because people dove right into the money stolen from Daniel Vorcaro. And this whole situation will have to come to light. Meanwhile, Gilmar sends guarantees to the Attorney General's office for Zambelli's extradition. Gilmar emphasized in a decision signed on Tuesday night that Zambelli was convicted by the plenary of the Supreme Federal Court by a large majority. The rapporteur of the criminal case also pointed out that if extradition is authorized, the former congresswoman will serve her sentence in an appropriate prison facility. What's happening? The Italian justice system is asking for guarantees that Carla Zambelli will go to a prison where her rights will be respected. Of the one who is in custody, in this case, the prisoner. Then Minister Gilmar Mendez sent all the documentation guaranteeing that she had due process, saying that it wasn't Alexandre de Moraes who judged her. Her case was decided by the full bench of the Federal Supreme Court. In the other case, it was 5 ministers, all from the first panel, and Alexandre de Moraes didn't convict anyone by himself. And that the one who convicted Carla Zambelli was the Supreme Court panel. And that she will have all the rights guaranteed to a female prisoner. She will go to Colmea, which is the female version of Papuda. And she will receive the treatment that a female prisoner gets in Brazil. With all the rights and guarantees. The meals, that's obvious, Andre. I know it's obvious. I know it's obvious. But the obvious has to be said when the lie is exposed in every possible way. You'll have the right to a bed. You'll have the right to 3-4 meals a day. You'll have the right to a toilet to take care of your needs. You'll have the right to a shower to bathe. You'll have the right to time in the sun. You'll have the right to that. You'll have the right to visits. The obvious needs to be said. When too many lies are spread, when people spread such absurd, outrageous things, we have to keep repeating the obvious. Here's what the Federal Supreme Court is doing for Italy's justice system. It's repeating the obvious. She will have all the rights of an incarcerated person in Brazil. Because it's not over yet. The Italian justice system can decide on her extradition at any moment. What the Italian justice system wants are guarantees. Because the far right went there to tell a bunch of lies. That Brazil is a communist dictatorship or whatever, blah, blah, blah. The rights that do get taken away are mostly taken away by the far right itself, like when it ended temporary prison leave. You ask, Andre, will she have temporary leave rights? No, given what she approved with Bolsonaro supporters, she won't have the right to temporary leave. Because she, together with the Bolsonaro supporters, approved the end of temporary leave. So, they say the only good criminal is a dead one. Gunshots, beatings, and bombs. But when it comes down to it, they defend criminals, protect criminals, maybe they're even the criminals themselves. It's something really horrible, right, guys? And at the same time, it's interesting because we can see just how cynical human beings are, or rather not human beings in general, how certain people are cynical and the capacity for manipulation is enormous. Dudu Bananina just made a video saying they'll fight to prevent a major tariff hike. But what do you mean? What do you mean? You just have to look at his social media. Are we pushing for the huge tariff hike, the application of the Magnitsky Law? If there's scorched earth, at least we'll be avenged. If Donald Trump can send aircraft carriers with the F-35 fighter jet to drop bombs on Brazil, because then at least it will put an end to communism in Brazil. Not now. Now he said he wants Trump not to impose the huge tariff hike. What's going on, guys? This is crazy. Then Flavio said he's going to the United States to defend PICS, even though they were attacking PICS. That he's going there to defend an end to the huge tariffs. They went there exactly to ask for huge tariffs, to ask for embargoes, to ask the owner of the junkyard to throw a bomb in Brazil, to ask for this whole situation, but they saw that they're dropping in the polls and that the people don't tolerate traitors to the country. Besides, of course, obviously, they're trying to create a smokescreen to cover up the Banco Master scandal. That's why he's going to the United States. And that's why they're changing their story now. Oh my God, is there really anyone who believes that? Like my grandmother used to say, do you believe that, my dear? Do you believe it? I don't believe it. No, I don't believe that. No, do you believe it? Oh, Bob's Fantastic World, Alice in Wonderland. Oh my, my, my. It's just like now, right? Flavio defending Bolsa Familia. And guys, in my 52 years, suddenly, they spent years bashing Bolsa Familia, saying it was for lazy people. Now they're defending Bolsa Familia. Can you believe it? They're defending women's interests and rights. Can you believe that? full of misogyny, machismo, homophobia, because they want to get the votes of the majority of the Brazilian people, the 80% who are workers and the poorest. But it doesn't fly, because I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it. Do you want to believe it? I don't want to believe it. But do you know what that is? Despair. Yeah, and now I don't know what they're going to do with their lives. Do you know why? It's really interesting, isn't it? That situation. Be careful what you wish for. What? Because you see, they allied themselves with Donald Trump, the Bolsonaristas. They're from the same far right ideological camp. And Donald Trump, we know what he wants, right? He wants to control Brazil. For him to control Brazil, he needs to take down Lula, because Lula is not a lackey. He's not a mongrel, nor does he lick American boots. Unlike Flavio Bolsonaro, Eduardo Bolsonaro, and their gang, who are lackeys and mongrels for Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, as I showed you in the 8:30 live stream also, he reposted an article from a far-right news outlet which said that now Donald Trump needs to interfere in Brazil's election to overthrow Lula, exactly to put his own puppet in power, or to have hegemony and power in South America, because today South America is in this situation here. Look, almost all countries have right-wing and far-right governments that support Donald Trump. Not Venezuela, but Venezuela has already been invaded by Donald Trump and is being robbed by Donald Trump. There's French Guiana, Suriname, and Brazil. And the biggest power in Latin America is Brazil. And Donald Trump wants to rule Latin America. For him to rule Latin America, I dare say to you, Venezuela is already taken. It's already being robbed day and night, with Venezuela's gold and oil being stolen. Suriname and French Guiana are very small countries, right? Economically, they don't even come close to the powerhouse that Brazil is. So the big challenge, according to this very post, this very article that was published in the United States and that Donald Trump reposted on his social network, is we need to take Brazil. For that, we even have to, if necessary, interfere. That's what this article made clear. They will even interfere in the electoral process. This article even calls the electronic voting machines and the electoral system into question. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to interfere in our elections. And about the ways, I've already shown you, which was revealed and embodied by federal deputy and PL leader Sosines Cavalcante. They are going to try to say that PT, the left in Brazil, is connected to the PCC. The United States will come with all these lies here, blah, 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 with the goal of overthrowing Lula so that Donald Trump can control Brazil and then Flavio Bolsonaro wins. That's what they want. They want our riches. They want our sovereignty. And the Bolsonarists are willing to establish that, as long as Donald Trump guarantees the victory for Flavio. What doesn't matter is Brazil, the flag, the homeland, our sovereignty, or our people. What matters is that they return to the presidency of the republic. The rest can go to hell. But this strategy is already coming to light. It's being revealed right here. I've already shown this in detail on the 8:30 live stream, and this is already being put out and established. Now let's think about it. What a huge shot in the foot. First situation, Donald Trump has one of the highest rejection and disapproval ratings of any president of the United States. One of the highest. One of the highest. And Donald Trump is also becoming an international pariah, where several countries are, leaving Donald Trump aside. Because Donald Trump acts like the sheriff and tries to boss everyone around. Just so you know, even far-right partners are kicking Donald Trump to the curb. For example, Giorgia Meloni. Did you see the clash involving Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy? She's also far-right. Then Donald Trump made a video and said that she begged for a photo with him at the G7. She went on social media. She destroyed Donald Trump. It's over. And she used to be an ally. And now she said she'd rather see the devil than see Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is losing his international reach, even with partner countries. Imagine if this situation were with the Bolsonaro supporters. They won't have control over him. People tolerate many things, but not a traitor to the country. And it will become very clear, as it already is, that this union here is not for the good of Brazil. It's for attacking Brazil. This is becoming clear in the latest poll released by Datafolha itself, where Lula is almost 13 percentage points ahead of Flavio Bolsonaro, and Lula has 42% of voting intentions in the first round. With 8 more percentage points and 1 vote, Lula wins in the first round. But that's not all. That same poll called it into question. And according to the poll, 57% of the people interviewed believe that Flavio Bolsonaro, he is harmful to Brazil's sovereignty from the moment he opens up this environment for interference from a foreign country in our nation, in our sovereignty. Almost 60% of the people interviewed in this Datafolha survey understood that this is not positive. It's negative, and that Flavio Bolsonaro is responsible. So people aren't fools. People aren't stupid. What did Flavio have to do? He had to present proposals about what he would do for the good of Brazil, and not prepare, root for, and work with foreign attacks on our electoral process, on our democratic system like he is doing, in the eagerness and desperation to return to the presidency of the republic like his father. This situation doesn't make sense, and the people won't accept that. That's why I believe this whole charade will be a huge shot in the foot. I believe the opposite will happen. And if we have to talk about the PCC, about the Red Command, the connections between the right and the far right with these criminal organizations are there for anyone who wants to see. Look at this new one here. Pay attention. Altino Cortez's son was a partner of an owner linked to the PCC. The businessman Altino Cortez Putinho was a partner of Flavio Navarro, managing partner of the Sulpul Distribuidora network. Who is this one, Andrea? Altino Cortez. Guess which state he's from. And guess which political group he's part of. He's a federal deputy and was already the PL leader in the Chamber of Federal Deputies. He's from Flavio Bolsonaro's political group. He's from the political group of the former governor of Rio de Janeiro, Claudio Castro. He's from the political group of the former president of the Legislative Assembly, who is in prison, Rodrigo Bacelar. He's from the same political group as Bolsonaro in Rio de Janeiro. A diehard Bolsonarist. He was already president there, leader of the PL in the Chamber of Federal Deputies, federal deputy. His son, partner in a PCC company. So if we have to talk about Comando Vermelho and PCC, Claudio Castro will soon be arrested, guys, for involvement with Comando Vermelho. Rodrigo Bacelar from Flavio Bolsonaro's political group had several meetings. You can look it up on social media. Former state representative. He is in jail for involvement with Comando Vermelho. So they want to take the spotlight off themselves to create a smokescreen to cover up their involvement. It's interesting they don't explain anything. 2 of Claudio Castro's secretaries have already been arrested. And who appointed these secretaries? Flavio Bolsonaro. And what are they involved with? With the Comando Vermelho, militia, criminal organization, and every kind of trickery and criminal activity you can imagine in Rio de Janeiro, in Claudio Castro's government. Former government, right? Now he's impeached, ineligible, and will likely end up in prison. So it's just cynicism, huge cynicism. These are outrageous situations. And now they want to say they defend Brazil and all that. That's why Lula is rising in the polls. You see? That's why Lula is rising. That's why Lula will keep rising in the polls. And you can cry about it. Look here. In fact, Congressman Lindenberg Farias talked about this situation in the latest poll just now. Pay attention.
Poll, Lula widens the gap, folks. Come on, it's Lula's fourth win. Look, the index poll, 42 for Lula, 31 for Flavio Bolsonaro. And in the second round, the difference that was 5 points increased to 7, 47 to 40. Now, here's the thing. The funny thing is, Ronaldo Cayado had 7, now he's down to 5. Zema had 5, now he's down to 3. Guys, there's no way. The alternative against this Bolsonaro family, against this far right, there's only one alternative. It's Lula. Brazil has 6, Lula has 4.
Wow, new poll.
Put it up. We have an alternative, and it's Lula's fourth win. Honestly, man, the right wing is so incompetent that they're not even able to rise up a decent name, a respectable name, to really have a good competition. Flavio, he's already falling just because the audio leaked. And these attacks on our sovereignty, he's already falling. Imagine when the video leaks. Imagine when it leaks there, him licking the boots of Daniel Vorcaro, chasing after money. Man. And these attacks on our sovereignty, at this rate, it'll be Lula in the first round. What do I think? It's not enough. Eduardo Bolsonaro teases Michele, confirms alliance with Ciro Gomez. You don't do politics with your gut. The Bolsonaro family is more lost than a blind person in a shootout. They're in Ceará. They made an alliance with Ciro Gomez. Ciro Gomez has already called Bolsonaro a thief. Ciro Gomez has already called Flavio Bolsonaro the most corrupt and thieving son of all of Bolsonaro's children. Who is Andre? Ciro Gomez. Ciro Gomez has already called Eduardo Bolsonaro crazy, disturbed, insane. Who? It's Ciro Gomez. Then over in Serra, they made an alliance with Ciro Gomez. Then Michelle spoke up. Look, you can't make an alliance with Ciro Gomez. Ciro Gomez has a bunch of videos, a bunch of situations where he criticizes everyone. Then Eduardo Bolsonaro tried to defend the alliance because they don't care at all about the ideological issue. You Bolsonaristas who called Ciro Gomez a communist, a leftist, and now the issue isn't even ideological in itself. The issue is perks, it's money, it's getting back to power at any cost. That's the situation. And now they're fighting over there, the Bolsonaro family itself, with all these shenanigans, with all these situations. Do you believe that? And meanwhile, United States Justice. United States denies trial in Moraes' absence. The court denies Moraes' trial. A judge from Florida denied the request from the platforms Hubei and Trump Media for Justice Alexandre de Moraes to be tried in absentia. The decision allowed the Office of the Attorney General to join the case to defend the Brazilian magistrate. Hubei Media and Trump Media want the anything goes vote on social media in Brazil. Hubei Media Moraes blocked it and said anything goes won't happen, so they sued. Then Alexandre de Moraes hadn't commented on the case and so on. The STJ here in Brazil didn't grant the enforcement. The enforcement, the letter rogatory requesting the summons of Alexandre de Moraes. Then they asked for Alexandre de Moraes to be tried in absentia without a defense. There in the United States. And the American justice system said no, that he will not be tried without a defense. With that, the Attorney General's office will defend Alexandre de Moraes. What is the strategy? To buy time. Donald Trump will leave if he doesn't stage a coup. Donald Trump will leave, he can't be reelected, and the American people won't vote in the next ones. Listen to what I'm saying and you can mark my words. The American people are so fed up with Donald Trump that they won't vote for another Republican. They will vote for a Democrat. Who will win the next election? So what is this? This is just buying time. They have to buy time. It's nothing, because what will all of this become? Nothing. All of this will become nothing because this is nonsense. It's a fifth-rate legal absurdity. Meanwhile, where is scale 6x1? Where is Davi Alcolumbre? Davi Alcolumbre, I think he's trying to hide his tail, right? It's really big, isn't it? He's trying to get some protection there in the federal police, and he can't. So he doesn't put the end of the 6x-1 scale up for discussion in the federal Senate. What a shame. And on the other hand, Andre Mendonça comes in to try to censor the truth. What a shame. Put it up there. What a shame, Andre Mendonça. What a shame. And then Davi Alcolumbre. Why? Daniel Vorcaro himself said it was a bribe payment to Davi Alcolumbre, 155 million reais. Lula said he won't protect anyone. Whoever is involved will face consequences. Look at what Alencar Santana said about this situation here. Look at the censorship.
Political violence, just like during the military dictatorship. Deputy Rogerio Correa, Deputy Lindenberg, and I are being forced by a decision from Minister Andre Mendonça to remove some posts from our Twitter because of an unfortunate decision. Senator Flavio Bolsonaro and others presented a proposal, PEC 12, which is signed by them. Senator Rogerio Marinho, who coordinated Flavio's campaign, made a video.
We introduced PC 12 as an alternative to the current situation. In other words, flexible working hours, so that anyone who wants to work on a certain day of the year at a certain time has the possibility to do so through free negotiation with employers, either at the time of hiring or through their union. And that they are also paid for the hours worked. If you want to work 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, 50 hours, it is possible.
There is a publication from the Senate, an official article, stating the content of this proposal, where it says that the worker will be able to work more than 50 hours a week if they want to. Well, it's simple to do the math, more than 50 hours. If they work at least 8 hours each day, how many days will that be? And they simply went to court, to the TSC, and Minister Andre Mendonça committed this outrage. But I will comply with the decision, because court decisions must be respected. Here it is. Look at this. This outrageous thing we're being forced to do, this violence, I will remove the post as the decision orders. This is an atrocity. Here it is, an atrocity, an abuse. They simply want to silence us. They simply want to censor us. This political violence, this aggression is not just against me as a federal deputy. It's not just against Rogerio Correa or just against Lindenberg. No, it's the freedom of opinion in our country. It's the freedom for a deputy to denounce and challenge ideas from another political camp. In this case, it's being protected by a judicial decision. In fact, there are senators who withdrew their signatures due to the public reaction. Flavio Bolsonaro, because of his commitments to his bosses, doesn't want to withdraw, but he doesn't want to receive criticism. So he seeks out this bizarre and harsh decision. We are going to appeal. And I'm sure we are going to win in the full court. What we are dealing with is the truth. It's a public and well-known fact, and it has their signatures.
Put it there. End of the 6-shift 6x1 already. Censorship is useless. Nothing will help. And soon the people will take to the streets. I want to see if this stays still. Just go to the streets. Hit hard, go out, protest, shout, and speak up. We want the end of the 6x1 shift schedule. And here, social media is already a window, a spotlight for that. Meanwhile, Flavio Bolsonaro is going to the United States to try to raise the curtain, to create a smokescreen and say he's going to defend PICs and the end of fees, even though they worked to attack PICs and to establish fees under the Trump administration. But it's all a smokescreen, and I think he's going there for something else. He's going to check on Daniel Vorcaro's money because it ended up there. Is he going there to coordinate testimony with Dudu Bananinha? Is he going there to coordinate stories, destroy evidence? Yeah, my dear, look, this one here, look. Brother, watch out, because there are people shielding Flavio Bolsonaro. Until when? When? Hit the like button, like, comment, and share. Kisses. Thank you.